Welcome to Hangar Day. We're so excited that you all are here. It's amazing that you made it here. I think some of you have come from all over the world just to be with us today, and there's actually quite few of you that I've only met on Zoom that I think I know quite well, but this is the first time we meet in person, so it's so exciting. And we've been working on something for 2 years that we can't wait to share with you today. So, this is actually our second Hangar Day, and the first one we held in the middle of the pandemic, during the lockdown, and it was in September of 2020, so about 2 years ago. And at that time, we could only be 35 guests in this room. But we wanted to show something to the world. We wanted to show that commercial electric air travel was possible. So we had built an electric propulsion demonstrator the size of a turboprop jet engine. And today we have more exciting product innovation to show you. But as you know, the biggest innovation in this industry is not just showing that something is possible, but actually taking it all the way to market. And the last Hangar Day opened an opportunity for us and created a lot of momentum. So we started getting some of the best climate investors in the world investing in this company. We got some of the world's leading airlines writing purchase orders for our product, and you'll be hearing more from some of them later. But most importantly, some of the best people in the industry took notice and wanted to join our team. So every week, we'd have more people showing up here with their families to come work with us at Heart here in Gothenburg. Quite quickly, we went from 7 employees to 17, and then to 35, to 48, 76. And today, and I had to check this, we have a team of 130 employees from 23 different countries. But it's not just the number of people we've hired, it's who they are. So we believe that we can only make this happen if we have people with the right skill set. And the team we have here today has a solid track record, building regional planes, building electric vehicles, but also taking startups from an idea all the way to industrialization. So I can't bring our entire team up on stage today, so instead, we made a little movie so that you can get to know them better.
When I first walked into the hangar here at Heart Aerospace, I could instantly feel that this is something different.
What excited me most was the fact that it's revolutionizing the industry.
We're starting a little bit from a clean slate, so that gives us the opportunity to explore a bunch of different technologies and actually make sure that it becomes reality.
I think it's not going to change only the aviation industry. I think it's going to change our mindset on what we're going to require in the future, and that's what I want to be part of.
For me, the best part about working at Heart Aerospace is the diversity, the multitude of experience from all over the world. It's a great culture to work in.
This is really a smorgasbord of cultures and technologies and people bringing ideas from lots of different areas.
We're all very experienced in the industry. There's multi-talented people here.
We all share the passion and work together to reach our goals, and we are truly kind at heart.
As soon as you become aware of the challenges of our planet, you start to think, maybe I can do something.
The work we're doing here, I think, will forever change aviation. We're going to be the first company developing and certifying our electric airplane, and this is going to change everything. I really want to be able to look back and tell my kids that Daddy worked on the first ever certified all-electric airplane in the history of aviation.
So the team is with us today. They're actually up here. And you'll get a chance to interact with them later. But we think that with this team we have here today, we can actually make this happen. So today we're going to talk about how. How are we going to make this happen? And we think to take electric aviation from being a dream to being a reality, we need three things. We need the right product. We need a market for that product. And we need a means to industrialize in mass scale. So that's going to be the theme for today. But before we get into the how we're going to do this, we want to talk a little bit about why. And we really believe that there's a magic to air travel. It's something we take for granted, but it really is a remarkable thing. It's one of the most genius inventions in history and something that allows us to get to anywhere on the planet in less than a day. But it's not just this technology in and of itself, but it's also how it's transformed us. We believe that air travel opens us up to new ideas and new perspectives, which in turn has had this profound effect on the world. It's ushered in an era of unrivaled peace and prosperity, and it's improved the lives of countless people. Now, today, we think air travel is as important, and being connected to this infrastructure is as important as being connected to the internet. And we don't want to imagine our world without air travel because we think that that would be a more hostile place. I think air travel has a healing effect on us as a civilization. But that's also maybe why it's painful to acknowledge damaging effects that it has on our planet. So as air travel has grown in the last decades, so has its emissions, despite of the fact that aircraft themselves have become much more fuel efficient. This obviously came to an abrupt stop during the pandemic and the lockdown, but now we're back to where we were before, emitting about 1 gigaton of CO2 per year. But it doesn't stop here. Globally, air travel is still only in its infancy. Only about 20% of the world's population has ever been on an airplane, which means that there are 6 billion people that have never been airborne. And as they start connecting to this great infrastructure, these emissions will rise exponentially. So by 2050, the emissions from aviation is expected to triple, going from about 1 gigaton today to 3. And as other industries are decarbonizing, the total share of emissions coming from aviation will increase even faster. So today we're at about 2.7% of the global CO2 emissions. But by 2050, the European Union projects that that number will be closer to 22%, and actually accounting for the majority of the emissions in the entire transportation sector by the middle of the century. But so if we start imagining what the world looks like in 2050, we can just think a little bit about how it looks today. In Europe, we've had our worst drought in 500 years. We've had rivers drying up, crops failing, and wildfires consuming large areas in this continent, but also in other places in the world. So, going back to this, we really need to break this trend. And it's not that nothing has been done. So airlines are doing a lot of things and have been for quite some time. We've had more efficient route planning, we've had higher load factors, blending in of biofuels, more efficient engines. So we've done a lot of these things. But the problem with incremental improvements is that they're bound to be swallowed by the tide when every year globally air travel increases 5%. So we think we need new technology and a new generation of airplanes that can truly decarbonize air travel by being zero emissions. Now, this is a really difficult thing to do. It's not something that's going to happen overnight, but it also doesn't mean that we should wait until tomorrow. We need to start working now, because what we do now in the 2020s will determine how this technology will look like in the 2050s. So we need to not talk about what we're going to do later, but do things today. So we asked ourselves, what's the best place to start this transition? And we thought about what's the right product. So about 1/3 of the emissions from aviation comes from short-haul routes. So that's obviously where we should start, with the shortest routes first. And Heart Aerospace was founded because we had identified such an opportunity here in the Nordics. In 2018, Norway announced that they aim for all domestic flights to be fully electric by 2040. And we have seen similar mandates in Sweden and Denmark and other places here in the Nordics. So we founded Heart to meet this demand. We created the 19-seater ES19 aircraft, certified under EASA CS23 to be tailor-made for the market in the Nordics. But as we made this announcement, we started hearing from airlines all over the world. We learned that there was a similar need in the rest of Europe, in the US, Canada, New Zealand, and many other places. So what we started as a local niche product kind of had a global appeal. But to make an aircraft that could fly everywhere, the ES19 needed to change. We needed to increase the luggage capacity to give the airlines route flexibility. And that's really difficult to do with a CS23 aircraft because it has a weight limit of 8,600 kilos. And if you're already carrying a few tons of batteries, that becomes very challenging. We needed to comply with various operating conditions, including Part 121, in order to fly commercially and schedule commercial traffic in the US. Something that you cannot do with the newly certified Part 23 aircraft. And we needed to abide by the world's strictest reserve rules, including those of 45 minutes of reserves and 100 nautical miles, which is 185 kilometers of alternates. So with the ES19, which nominally had 400 kilometers of range with a 30-minute reserve, with a 45-minute reserve and 185 kilometers of alternate, that number drops to about 150 kilometers. So these three are all major challenges. But instead of us looking at that as obstacles and as a reason to take a step back, we actually decided to take a step forward. So in June of this year, we announced our decision to switch certification bases from EASA CS23 to EASA CS25, or Part 23 to Part 25 in the US. We shared at the time that this would be the most significant design update to our aircraft since we started this company. But we also said that we were not going to unveil it until September 15th. So you can understand we've been waiting for this moment for quite some time. Now, the moment has come to show you all what it is that we've been working on. Are you ready to see it? Yes. Great. Here it is. This is the Heart ES30. It's an electric airplane we've designed to transform regional air travel in every part of the world. The ES30 is the culmination of all of our engineering efforts through the last years, and it's been designed with input from airlines all over the world. So we believe deeply that in order to start this green transition as soon as possible, we need to design an aircraft that just works for airlines, that works profitably with their existing infrastructure using their existing business model. So let's look inside this plane. The ES30 seats 30 passengers in a 2+1 seating configuration with a generous 30-inch pitch. It features a fully pressurized cabin with a standing aisle and overhead bins for your small carry-ons. And in the back, we have the cargo bay, and the ES30 is designed for the industry standard of 25 kilos luggage per passenger. We've even included an option of a galley and a lavatory in the front of the aircraft. From a technology perspective, this aircraft is unlike any other regional aircraft. It features a full glass cockpit, all-digital system, and a digital fly-by-wire that allows the ES30 to operate in every weather condition. Including in low visibility. It can also operate in every climate and features a state-of-the-art electro-expulsive de-icing system so that we can fly into known icing. And this technology is purely electric, it's low energy, it's durable, it's scalable, and the ES30 will be the first passenger aircraft applying it on its main wing. But let's talk about propulsion. As you may have guessed, we now have the batteries in this landing gear fairing underneath the aircraft. And we've added a strut to help with the structural load of this battery. This battery, in turn, feeds energy into the 4 electric motors that's on the main wing. And for almost all cases, this is all you need to know. But for that reassurance and for dealing with the reserve issue, we've added 2 turbo generators in the rear of the aircraft. These are not on in regular flights. They're just there so that if you need that extended range, if you're, for instance, being redirected to another airport, you can switch the systems on. And fuel tanks containing sustainable aviation fuel located in the wing will feed the turbo generator, which generates energy and feeds the electric system, giving the ES30 a much longer range. We call this a reserve hybrid system because it combines the zero emissions, all electric operation of an electric plane with the reassurance and with the longer ranges that a hybrid system gives. So let's speak a little bit about range. We've designed the ES30 for a 200-kilometer all-electric range. Why 200 kilometers? Well, we believe that that's where the early market is for this size of planes. And actually, it has to do with supply and demand. We think that there's more aircraft flying these routes all electrically than we can ramp up production in the early years. But it's so important for the market logistics, for the route flexibility, and the future planning of airlines to be able to also fly further when needed. So when we kick in the turbo generator, we can fly a lot further. And if we fly 400 kilometers, we still have a 50% reduction in emission compared to a similar turboprop, even if most of these planes are flying with sustainable aviation fuel, which the ES30 will do. And these numbers are obviously with reserves. But it's the one thing that we have really learned is that it's not just about range. We've spoken to a lot of airlines, and the main challenge of flying small planes is not that they don't fly far enough. It's that they struggle with unit economics. So compared to the ES19, the ES30 seats 30 passengers. And this is an increase with more than 50%. And what's even more impressive is that we've increased the luggage capacity of a factor 2.5. And it goes maybe without saying that we're no longer doing the ES19 and we're focusing all of our attention on the ES30. But we still have the proposition of being electric. This is not just a green aircraft, but it's something that's more affordable. And we believe that this aircraft can compete with much larger 50-seat turboprop aircraft. And this is something that will continue to evolve. As batteries not only increase in energy density, but also get lower in price, as the price of CO2 and jet fuel increases, the economic proposition will be even greater. But the ES30 is not a conventional aircraft. We can just make comparison with traditional planes because it's an electric aircraft. It's low noise, it has silent taxi, it has no local pollution. Even if we turn on the turbo generator, we don't do that at takeoff and landing. And it can operate on a short runway, which means that we're not just redefining the experience of being inside of the plane, but also the experience of the airports. So with these low runway operations, with these no local emissions, with the silent taxi, and with the low noise takeoff, the airport experience becomes different as well. So we can create airports that are more integrated with our communities. That's the ES30. It's green, it's affordable, and it's accessible. And it will enter into commercial service in 2028. But that's not the end of the story. The ES30 will continuously be upgraded as new battery technology becomes available, making it a product that becomes better the longer you own it. It's an appreciating asset. The ES30 will also form the baseline for a product family and a platform that we can extend the fuselage to up to 50 passengers. So, this is the idea behind the ES30. And now we're going to talk about how we're building it. And for that, I'd like to introduce to the stage our chief engineer, Mr. Markus Koch-Kemper.
Thank you. Thanks, Anders. Ladies and gentlemen, our goal with the ES30 is to make electric aircraft a reality as soon as possible. Our strategy is to leverage existing technology as much as possible in order to reduce the technology needed for the aircraft. As you can see, the ES30 looks like a conventional aircraft. That's actually a good thing. Aircraft look the way they do for a reason. It has been proven over the last century that this type of aircraft is the most reliant and efficient. At heart, we are not looking to innovate for the sake of innovation, but for a purpose. And our purpose is to get the job done. So, our philosophy is to create a great product with low-risk design. And therefore, we need three things. We need to get the right team, not just hire the right people, but organize them in the right way. The second thing is we have to build up strong alliances by partnering with the top-tier aerospace suppliers. And last but not least, the final step is that our strategy is that we want to test early and extensively before we finalize the design. So, the reason why we are so focused on reducing the risk is that building an aircraft is difficult because so many disciplines are involved. Now, where we have reached a critical mass of about 100 engineers, it is my job to organize their work in an efficient way. Because as an upcoming aircraft OEM, we need to take the overall responsibility for the entire aircraft. An aircraft contains hundreds of thousands of parts that you can see, and all these parts and the design of it has to comply with the stringent aerospace standards. All the work we do with the ES30 is divided into several distinct categories. And I'm really proud that we have managed to have a world-class team in each of these categories. We have the flight science team led by Andre Gama. We have the structures and interiors team led by Justin Kaber. We have the mechanical systems team led by Neil Robertson. We have the flight controls team led by Welsh Pont. We have the electrical systems, the avionics team, led by Etienne Lemarchand. We have the electrical systems team led by Fabrizio Spigolon. We have the propulsion team led by Matthias Quinn. And last but not least, we have the central engineering team led by Phil Keenan. So I think they have getting their applause. And one of the main tasks currently for all of these teams is to create strong alliances by partnering with the top-tier aerospace suppliers. We are humbled by the feedback we are getting from the industry, and we are so happy to see so many of the suppliers here in the audience today. We're talking to many of you, but we have already signed up with a few, so I want to introduce them. So we have, for the airframe, we have partnered with Aeronova, a supplier with almost 30 years of experience in design and manufacturing of airframes. For the interior, we had partnered with MSB, a subsidiary of Sochiclea, which has designed aircraft interiors for over 15 years. For the doors, we have partnered with Latecor, a supplier with over 50 years of experience as a top-tier supplier for all the big aircraft OEMs. And for the brain of the aircraft, the avionics, we work with Garmin, known for their award-winning innovation and unmatched reliability and performance. So we will leverage the extensive knowledge and experience that these top-tier suppliers have built up over decades. And this will going to help us to make the ES30 a reality as soon as possible. The third and final leg of our design philosophy is to test early and to test extensively, because we want to learn all of our lessons before we finalize the design. Only a few years from now, our plan is to have this beautiful aircraft here in the hangar ready for flight testing. Our suppliers will all have delivered their parts. We will all have put them together, like the avionics, the flight controls, all the mechanical and electrical systems. But how do we make sure that all these parts working properly together? So for certainly we will use computers to build up a digital model of the aircraft, not just to show how it will look like, but to simulate and analyze how the aircraft is working. We call this our digital twin. The tools that we have at our disposal today are amazing, and they allow us to test so many aspects of the aircraft in a way it was impossible a few years ago. But let's be clear, computer models will only get you so far. We believe that rapid prototyping and testing of physical parts is a key element to truly understand our aircraft. Building models that you can touch, feel, and interface with will bring us a much deeper understanding of how everything is working together. For the ES30, we had a clear vision of building a fully integrated test facility. We call it the ITF. So, therefore, we would start with an empty hangar. We would add a representative structure so that we see how the aircraft looks like. We will add a cockpit so that we can test the avionics. We would add flight controls like the electric actuated fly-by-wire system with flaps, rudder, aileron, and elevators. We would add mechanical systems such as the electro-expulsive de-icing system Anders talked before. We would even add the external lights in the electrical system so that we can manage the power. And for sure, we would add our prototype electric propulsion system, because our motors are electric, so we have no emission, low noise, we can even run them in the hangar. And finally, we would add a full hardware-in-the-loop flight simulator so that we can fly all and test all these systems together in flight. So this is what we decided to build. I want to pause here for a second to point out that even if you just heard about the ES30, we have done our homework. So we come a long way. What you see on this picture is a computer model of how we imagined the ITF will look like. And what I will show you next is a photograph we took this Tuesday of the ITF. And this is hangar next door. With this, we have essentially built an entire aircraft on ground. We can already touch and feel and even fly this aircraft. Instead of working in isolated areas, we are all working together in the same and representative environment, which means we learn from each other and we save both money and time. And to show you how this looks like, we have made a little video.
3, 2, 1, release.
Brake release.
Here we will perform the full integrated test of the ITF, the integrated test facility. The idea is to test all the systems that are now integrated, like flight controls, avionics, motors, and other systems, together in a flight, so all the systems will be exercised at the same time.
Are you feeling optimistic about the test so far?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's gonna work.
Right aileron surfaces moves up. Now move the pedal to the right.
Nice.
Nice.
We're gonna test the 4 motors, 2 on each side. We're gonna power up and look at how it's gonna interact with the flight simulator. Engine 4 to max power.
Okay, engine 4 to max. Engine 3. Engine 2.
All 4 motors running. Congratulations, team.
It's very exciting for our engineers, right? Because this is a mock-up of the real product. So it's been good to leave your computer, leave your desk, and come here to the hangar and seeing how your system, all the things that you have developed is working.
Okay, so leveling off, we'll just do a check of the flight controls again. Power's coming back to max continuous.
Power back to max continuous and leveling off 14,000 feet.
We are not only building the ITF, but it's a kind of bonding with other teams because you could see people helping each other, many volunteers. It's a great experience.
Brakes on.
Brakes on.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Landvetter, where the local time is lunchtime.
Good job, everyone.
I want to use the opportunity to say special thanks to the suppliers that have supported us with the ITF, like Garmin, Cox, MSB, and for sure special thanks to Phase, they have provided the motor, and to Texad and Aliero, who have helped us to build up the hardware in the loop. But just like we believe in testing of prototypes at an early stage, we believe in engaging with the certification authorities right from the beginning of the program. And that's why we have already applied in 2019 for our design organization approval. And that's also, although you just heard about the ES30, we have already applied for a type certificate at the EASA for the ES30. Even more, we applied for a production organization at Transport Stuyvesant for the mass production of the ES30 this year. And I want to thank here for all the certification, ISM, and the production organization team for all their hard work to get us to this point. While our program is dictated by our cert plans, we also believe in clear and measurable milestones that we can communicate externally. So in 2019, we started the project. In 2020, we demonstrated the first propulsion system. In 2022, today, you will see the ITF. In 2024, we will roll out a proof of concept aircraft of the ES30. And only 2 years later, in 2026, we will start flight testing. And after 2 years of flight test, our plan is in 2028 to have the ES30 in commercial operation. So that's how we are building the ES30. And now it's a pleasure to hand over to Simon Hewitt, our Chief Commercial Officer, who will tell you more about airlines and collaborators who will help us to get to market.
Well done, Marcus. Thank you. So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I get to talk about the fun pit, which is all about the market. So as Anders explained earlier, in order to progress, we can't be flying solo. We need partners, partners who share our vision, partners who are passionate about making change, and partners who will help to ensure that we bring to market aircraft that are sustainable, affordable, and accessible. And you know what? We found them. We found those partners. But more importantly, they found us. Thought-leading airlines and other key stakeholders from all over the world who are ready to walk with us and to be part of this transformation.
Hello, everyone. I'm Scott Kirby, CEO of United Airlines. I'm sorry I couldn't join you in person, but I'm excited to be coming to you virtually. At United, our purpose of connecting people and uniting the world drives each decision we make. However, it's no longer enough for us to connect the world without also ensuring it has a future. That's why we're the only airline committed to becoming 100% green by 2050 without relying on traditional carbon offsets. We plan on achieving this goal by making investments in companies now, like Heart Aerospace, that are building for a future not yet imagined. From the beginning, Heart and United have been on the same page, with an acute focus on safety, reliability, and sustainability. Heart's exciting new design, which includes expanded passenger capacity from 19 to 30 seats and a state-of-the-art reserve hybrid engine, is the type of revolutionary thinking that will bring true innovation to aviation. In fact, United is on track to purchase 100 of Heart's ES30 airliners, which will mark the world's first electric short-haul fleet aircraft in history. The thought of booking a United ticket on an aircraft capable of flying with zero operational emissions, even a decade ago, would have seemed crazy. But thanks to the work being done by the team at Heart and the vision and dedication of my friend Anders, we can see that reality as early as 2028. Thank you to the entire Heart team for your commitment to innovative technology and your tireless efforts in support of a more sustainable and connected world. Hopefully, someday all airlines around the world will join us in the age of electric aircraft.
And to all our friends at United Airlines, and to Jonathan and the entire team at Mesa, we are thrilled to have your continued commitment as we've confirmed the purchase agreements from the ES19 up to the ES30. Now for some new commitment news. This is the bit that we're really excited to share with you today. So from one North American major to another, a thought-leading airline, a progressive airline with a rich history, who in fact celebrated 85 years just a few days ago. And we're super excited about the market that this airline serves as well, where we believe there'll be a lot of great opportunity for the ES30 to operate. So we're absolutely delighted to announce purchase agreement has been signed with Air Canada for 30 ES30s. In addition, Air Canada will become an equity partner in Heart Aerospace, taking a minority shareholding. We are really humbled about this commitment from such an airline, and we couldn't be happier working with a team that both share our values and aspirations in making the world a more sustainable and clean place. And with that, I'm absolutely delighted to welcome on stage Mr. Vaughan Sorensen, Chairman of the Board of Air Canada. Vaughan.
So, ladies and gentlemen, as Chairman of Air Canada, it's a great honor and pleasure for me to be here today, coinciding with the announcement that we're placing this purchase order for 30 ES30s and taking also, as was said, a minority stake. We are very, very enthusiastic about this opportunity, about this aircraft. During the pandemic, Air Canada made a strategic decision to become or to take an industry leadership position within the green transition within the industry, phasing out some of our oldest aircrafts, making very aggressive climate agenda and a climate plan, not only committing to the 100% emission-free by 2050, but also committing to already 2030, having reduced our emissions by 20%. In order to meet the SBTi targets. And in that transition, in that journey towards net zero, in the short term, it's all about sustainable aviation fuels, it's all about carbon capture, offsets, what have you. But longer term, we need technology. We need new propulsion, we need thought leadership technology. And this is what we find that Heart provides. And this is why we're so proud to be able to partner up with Heart and support the Heart team through their journey. We're happy about the milestones that were shown here. We'll obviously follow it with a lot of interest that these are kept. But we're absolutely confident, and I'd like to congratulate on behalf of Air Canada, Anders and his 130-person strong team here at Heart for their great progress to date. But also assure him of our support all the way, but also great expectations that these milestones are obviously held. So with that, leaves me only one thing that I need to do. Scott Kirby made a nice video. Our CEO, Mike Russo, would have loved to be here, couldn't make it. So what do when you can't make it? You send your chairman. So that's what he did. And not only did he send his chairman, he also said, could you read a small statement from me? So I'll do that. So Mike says, Air Canada is very pleased to partner with Heart Aerospace on the development of this revolutionary aircraft. We've been working hard with much success to reduce our footprint, but we know that meeting our net zero emissions goals will require new technology such as the ES30. We have every confidence that the team at Heart Aerospace has the expertise to deliver on the ES30's promise of a cleaner and greener aviation future. So with that, congratulations again. Thanks for the partnership. Looking forward to working with you in the future.
Thanks, Vaughan. Thank you. Now, in addition to those with commitment, we also have those with intent, with interest, with support. Indeed, we've had a wave of positive interest from many of the existing LOI holders for the ES19, with a number having already updated their LOIs from the ES19 to the ES30. We now have almost 100 aircraft under various LOIs from across the world, and we're honored to have many of our partners here with us today. Ryan Wardman from Sounds Air, Ulrika and Maria from Braathens Regional Airlines. We also have Anne-Sophie and Anko from SAS. Now, Heide from Iceland Air would have been here with us today, but she's unfortunately got some terrible flu, so we wish you all the best, Heide, and look forward to seeing you soon. So to all of you, a great thanks from all of us here at Heart Aerospace for your continued support. And to Rockton, our home-based lessor here in Sweden, who has made it their mission to focus on sustainable solutions to the aviation industry. Earlier this week, we've signed an LOI for up to 40 aircraft with Rockton. And Nicholas, Ulf, they're both here today, our deepest appreciation for your support. Thank you very much. Now, some of you may not know that we've got a couple of very dear to us friends and family that have really been with us since the very beginning of Heart Aerospace. Some may even say literally day zero, right? As Anders was pitching for his seed funding at the Y Combinator back in 2018, he was able to use the publicity that both SAS and Braathens Regional Airlines offered up to him through their LOIs that were signed back in the day. So it's really a real great honor to have both respective CEOs here with us today, Ulrika and Anko, and I'd like to welcome them both up on stage to say a few words, please.
It's truly amazing what we have heard here today, and the future of aviation is being created here, and you can almost touch the innovation spirit in this room. Beside the sustainable aviation fuel, electric aviation is one part of our journey towards our vision, that is net zero aviation 2030 for the regional aviation, for the domestic, and 2045 for the international. And I think electric aviation have a little twist, because it's not only that it reduces the emissions and the new technology and everything. I think it can meet a new type of demand in the Swedish market or in the regional market. I'm talking about the small routes that traditional airlines can't really fit into today. And I believe that when electric aviation reaches its full potential, then I'm sure that we can, as a national provider, that we are, national carrier, we can increase the availability in Sweden significantly, and in the same time lower the emissions. Braathens Regional Airlines, I expect new revenue and new sustainable business. So we are really happy for the collaboration with Heart. We are really proud to be able to walk beside you during these really exciting times. And for the whole entire team up here, I just want to say thank you so far, and also good luck to you, to us, to everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm not going to repeat too much, because we all seem to be really talking about the same things. I hear Vaughn talking about, short-term sustainable aviation fuels. Great. They won't get us there. At SAS, we've been at the forefront of sustainability. Many of you will know that. It's not something we just believe in. We have to. We want to get there. I think for us, what's really important is that we expand that horizon beyond the 3, 4, 5 years that so many of us have today. That sustainable aviation fuel, which is the key, at least for the short term. Our bold ambition is to have the correspondence of roughly the domestic size of Sweden, Norway, and Denmark in fossil-free fuels by 2030. That's already massive. We're not going to get there just with sustainable aviation fuel. What we need to do, and I'm going to turn to all of you in a second, what we need to have is that new generation of technology, the new generation of things that we don't have today, innovation. That's why I'm extremely glad to be here today. Let me, like I said, turn to you maybe. because I know the pressures that typically CEOs are under. It's actually you. So please, you have the keys to something which is beyond importance. You carry that dream of that future generation, because we know how beautiful travel is and how connecting the world and businesses and people is extremely vital for us as almost a planet. So please, pass that on to the next generations, and we are very proud to be with you, not only today, but hopefully also in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anko. Thank you very much, Ulrike, and thank you, Anko. Now, to take flying into a new age for future generations requires a collective effort. We know that progress demands partnerships. Getting the best in the room, all talking together, will help us get to solutions in the quickest possible way. So in addition to those who are committed and to those who have interest and are expressing support for us, we're delighted to have assembled this fantastic group that we're calling the Heart Partners, who are all going to help us as we journey along with the design and the development of the ES30 from now all the way to entry into service and beyond. And ladies and gentlemen, here they are. So from the largest of network carriers to the very smallest of regional operators from all over the world, with the participation of thought-leading airports. Now we have a number of airports here. A shout out to Christchurch Airport, to Wellington Airport, to London City, to our home base, Swedavia, and hopefully some other airports will join us as we continue. Having the airports with us will help place the key importance on the infrastructure that's required to support the aircraft. From the perspective of leasing companies, now we all know that the operating lessors provide a critical role in supporting our aviation industry. And in addition to Rockton, we have CDB, we have VMO, excellent leasing companies that are going to help provide their perspective and will be key in providing financing options to the operators. So we're very, very proud of our partners, and we look forward to their real contribution to the program. Now, it's fair to say that I'm going a little bit off script here, so bear with me. It's fair to say that we have, considering the time zone on the West Coast, in the Americas, it's a very early start of the day. And of course, over in Asia Pacific, it's nearing the end of the day. But I know we have people who are part of the companies that are on this list that are tuning into us now. They're watching us. They're part of this great reveal. So to Alex and Dio over in Manila, to our friends in Toki Air in Japan, to our friends in Mexico, to our friends in the United States, Charlie at Republic, to all of you, we're sorry that you're not here with us today, but you're with us in spirit, and we look forward to seeing you soon. So thank you very much. Now, for those that are perceptive, may have noticed a particularly large contingent participating at our event today that have come all the way from New Zealand. It's really a pleasure to have you all with us today, and we admire you for your leadership in all that you do in your efforts to reduce emissions. We have to say that we're humbled and full of admiration at what can happen when an entire ecosystem comes together with a common goal. And in New Zealand, the country, everyone is aligned on the importance of reducing emissions. Now, one of our heart partners from New Zealand is Air New Zealand, and I'm delighted to welcome on stage Captain David Morgan, who's Chief Flight Operations Officer for Air New Zealand. Welcome aboard.
Thanks, Simon. And Anders, can I just say, I love the way we started with the people. The people is about, great businesses are about great people. Great people means a great culture, and culture trumps everything. So you're off to a great start, a wonderful team and doing a fantastic job. The other thing I was so thrilled about was the provocation, reminding us of why we are actually doing this. It's so important. And then the technology, the cusp that we're on of a technological shift in this industry. It's absolutely critical. Thank you so much for inviting Air New Zealand to be on the advisory board. We're absolutely thrilled to be able to contribute to the debate that the industry actually needs and the provocation that needs to come, not only from the airlines, from the industry, but also the customer. The customer is king, and it's what they in actual fact want, and in fact the community is demanding, and that is sustainable air travel going into the future. We're delighted to be on the panel, and we're looking forward to our contribution. Air New Zealand is part of an ecosystem, as you've already mentioned. I would like to acknowledge the other parts of the New Zealand community that are here, and particularly His Excellency Andrew Jenks, who is the ambassador to Sweden and the other Nordic countries. It's really interesting, actually, talking about Sweden and considering the other Nordic countries, how similar they are to New Zealand. Similar size, similar population, similar demographic, similar climate, similar travel patterns, similar propensity to want to travel. And so, you know, there's a great symbiosis there, I think, between New Zealand and the Nordic countries, and I can see there's going to be a rich debate going forward. The ES30 won a fantastic aeroplane. We're just delighted to see the shift to the new technology, and we're really looking forward to being part of the contribution to what will be a very successful aircraft going forward. So on behalf of Air New Zealand and the New Zealand contingent here, can I wish you every success in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, David. Thanks so much. So we knew we had to put our plan into action, and with these great partners, we've been able to do so. But our plan is not just to build an electric aircraft. It is to reimagine the whole aviation ecosystem. This is why I'm so proud to introduce you to our CEO, Sophia Groflund. She has some very exciting news to share with you. So please, Sophia, welcome on stage.
Thank you, Simon, and you're absolutely right. So we have heard Anders and Marcus talking about how great ES30 is. And now we've just heard Simon talking about how large the market is. We know that we have the team to build this, and we know that the market is there for us once this product is available. But one thing that we haven't talked about yet is how and where we're going to build this product. So the last piece of the puzzle is to show how we're going to build this at scale. And at Heart Aerospace, our vision is not only to build an electric aircraft. Our vision is to build a new industry. And Sweden is right now leading in building green industries. Here is something that we just don't talk about. We see it everywhere around us. Everything from the steel industry to the battery manufacturing, and maybe most important, the electric mobility. We are electrifying trucks and cars and boats and motorbikes. And Gothenburg city has become an epicenter for this, not only in Sweden, but in the world. And I don't know if you know this, but Sweden also have a rich history in aviation. In the 50s, we had the 4th largest air force in the world. In the 60s, we built supersonic fighter jets. In the 80s, we built passenger aircrafts. And still today, we have the largest aviation industry in the world per capita. And this is largely thanks to one company that stands out. And that's Saab. Saab has shown that a small country like Sweden can successfully build airplanes. It makes a lot of sense for us to work together. So that's why we are very happy today to say that we have entered into a collaboration with Saab. We're going to collaborate on supply of certain subsystems, but we're also looking into many different areas, such as manufacturing, certification, and other areas. Saab has also decided, which we are very proud and happy about, that they will take a minority shareholder stake in Heart Aerospace. And here, where we are today, embodies not only the history, but it's also leading the way into the future. Here at Säve, this is where it all started for Heart Aerospace. We've been here for a couple of years, and we're really starting to grow out of these facilities. We need a new place where we can grow. We need a new headquarter where we can design our aircraft. We need a new final assembly hall where we can build our aircraft, and we need a new flight test center where we can test our aircraft. And together, this will form our new campus and also the beginning of this new industry. And today, we're very excited. We will announce the new name of this campus. Are you ready for it? We will call it the Northern Runway. And this state-of-the-art facility will consist of a headquarter, which will be housing up to more than 500 employees. We will have our final assembly hall, where we can build more than 120 aircraft per year. And we will have our flight test center, where we can test 3 aircraft at once. And where will this be located? Well, only a short distance from here. So we will build this campus at Säve, and this will form a part of the electrification hub for transportation that Castellum and Gothenburg City is setting up, called Gateway Säve. And what is the timeline for this? Well, in 2024, we will move into our new headquarter. The same time, our new flight test hangar will be ready for us, where we will put together and build our 3 prototypes. In 2026, when we move into our flight test campaign, Gateway Säve will be a fully operational airport with a full-length runway of 2 kilometers. In 2027, when we start our mass production, we will do so in our brand new final assembly hall. And in 2028, when we move into entering into service, we will receive our customers in our new delivery center. Yes, that's worth an applaud, I agree. While the Northern Runway is our first campus, it's only the beginning of a global idea, and it will act as a blueprint of our future expansion. We will start here in the Nordic, but eventually we will set up runways all around the globe. Eventually we will have the Western Runway, we will have the Eastern Runway, and maybe the Southern Runway. Only the future knows. But today we are very thankful to Castellum and Gothenburg City for making this a reality with us. We're so happy about this partnership. And we are very excited about the future and committed to decarbonize air travel before the end of this decade. Thank you.
And also, maybe we can give one more hand to the Heart Aerospace team. So now there's enough talking. Now you actually get to go into the other hangar, and you get to see the integrated test facility we've built, and also the great interior mock-up that we built together with MSP. So you can actually sit in the ES30. And yeah, and you can also get to chat with our great team. So thank you all for coming today. You can hear?